You're listening to In Sumter with Sarah Jane, a show about celebrating Sumter, a part of the Item Podcast Network, presented by SKF. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. I'm Sarah Jane, and this is Lee Gandy, and you teach at Wilson Hall, right?
I do.
Do you do anything else at Wilson Hall?
We have a robotics class, and so I do that, and I get to run the register at lunchtime, so that's like the funnest part of my day.
And I feel like that would be a pretty fun part. I feel like any interaction that we've had, which is mostly Facebook, I haven't seen you in person.
It's been a minute.
Decades, maybe?
We saw each other at the Ginyard Diner briefly.
Yes.
A couple months ago, I guess.
But yeah, time flies when you're COVIDing.
Yeah.
So, okay, so what do you teach at Wilson Hall?
I teach 6th grade history, which is world history, 11th grade English, and then I have the one robotics class.
Oh, multifaceted,
Yeah,
multifaceted.
I love it. 6th graders leave, little guys, and then 11th graders come in, and it's two different worlds. And sometimes I need to see my 11th graders because I need some maturity, and then sometimes I need to see my 6th graders because...
Is it ever video day?
Video? No, I don't really do video days. Yeah, kids don't do that anymore. They're out after 5 minutes. So video clips, that's about all you can get away with nowadays. And I find myself kind of snuck. Yeah, but I kind of fallen into that too because if a video is too slow, I'm out because we just want things so fast. So video clips, that's where it's at now. Yeah.
So how did you come about in the teaching profession?
It's funny because I was a youth pastor for many years, and kids would ask me all the time, like, how should I figure out what my career is going to be? Like, I don't know what to do. I want to go to college, but I don't really know what to pursue. So I would often tell them, just find what you're gifted at, and then find a career that matches that, and you'll always be satisfied. It doesn't matter how much money you make or whatever, you're going to go home at the end of the day feeling good, you've done something that you're gifted to do. And one day, I guess, my own advice hit me like a ton of bricks, and I got up from where I was and called USC Sumter and signed up for classes, and 3 years later I was teaching.
So how old were you when that happened?
In my 30s.
Fresh as a daisy.
Yeah.
30s is prime career change time.
Yeah, I guess.
So so what'd you do before that you were like negative?
Well, I was a youth pastor for many years, both full-time, part-time, volunteer. I was in the Air Force I did one term during Desert Storm, which is great because it gives me veteran status and, have that. And I was just old school. I wanted to serve my country. And so I did that. And then my dad owns a local upholstery shop, so I've worked with him on and off forever. So.
Well, thank you for serving.
Oh, thank you.
And the upholstery shop, I've been in a couple times. And I think we've been through a boat and a car and several chairs and all kinds of stuff. They don't do furniture anymore, though, do they?
They do. Well, my parents, who owned the furniture side and the automotive side, sold the furniture side to an employee. So it's still being done, same building, same people, but my parents just own the automotive side.
I feel like you've gone through that spiel before.
Maybe.
You've heard it here on the podcast. You can still get your chairs done.
Yes, same people.
Same
people. Quality. All right.
So,
same name too. It's
same
still
name.
Called Gandy.
Can't miss it. Same place. Okay. Katie just walked in. She's
Katie.
Cracking me up. So you were doing upholstery and you were in the military, and then you started going to school in your 30s.
Yes, late 30s.
Late 30s.
Yeah.
Well, you finished early because you're not a day over 38.
I wish. Yeah.
So, and I think, I remember your wife teaching at Pacala. Because your daughter and I were friends and went to elementary school together. Yeah. Then, but were you teaching at the same time she was teaching?
She taught for 5 years before I did. So,
okay.
yeah, now we
were
both
you like, did that have an impact on your decision?
Not really.
Because
Really
it's
did.
totally different age groups, right?
Yeah, we went 2 different ways. At that time, we were District 2, District 17. She was in District 2. I got a job in District 17. So for years, we were like District 2, 17. I don't know, little wars going on and stuff. Who was better and all that good stuff.
Oh, really?
Nah, not really. It was
I'm
fun.
just teasing.
It was fun.
Yeah. So, and then you haven't been at Wilson Hall very long, have you?
3 years under my belt.
3 years.
Yes.
Veteran. Is that how you got on lunch status? Like you had to work up to it? Because I feel like
No,
not everybody gets to do that.
It's funny because some people do not like that. They want to enjoy their full lunch because you give up a little bit of that by running the register. But the benefit of it, seeing the kids come through, and it's not
At their happiest.
Yeah, it's not in a classroom situation or anything, and you can give them a hard time about their choices, stuff like that.
Oh, really? Is that what we're eating today?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like anytime we've had interaction, it's been a lot of banter and really fun and upbeat.
That's the way I am. Yeah.
In the classroom too?
Yes, and especially with all of them. But my 11th graders are the best at that because they can give it back, and I know that there's really not a line to be crossed there. 6th grade, I have to be careful.
Because we're like testing boundaries really
Yeah,
hard.
but I learned within the first couple of weeks who my sarcastic students are, who the ones are that can handle that banter, and who probably shouldn't do that.
What is the most fun thing about what you do? I feel like you get really creative with stuff.
I don't really. That is a tough question. That's loaded. I wish you'd asked me like yesterday, and I could have prepared. Because
oh, man,
I think
I'm a bad podcaster.
overall, the best thing is like hearing from students later. I had this really unique thing. I taught Alice Drive Elementary, okay, and I was teaching 4th grade. I moved from there to teach Alice Drive Middle, 6th grade. Okay, so follow me here. So these fourth graders I got to know. Then they came up and they came to 6th grade, and I was teaching gifted and talented social studies. So I had 6th grade and 8th grade. So there are about 20 kids in Sumter that I taught in 4th grade, 6th grade, and then again in 8th grade. And we know each other so well, and it's so funny because we're all Facebook friends and everything. They always talk about having some sort of reunion or something with Gandy's class.
The Gandy tri-year reunion.
And now they're all, I think they're probably, I don't know, maybe 30 now. I really don't know. They've not really. They've graduated. They've graduated college last year. And so it's just that the fun part is not necessarily what's going on day to day in the classroom. It's being such a big part of their lives that they want to keep it going. And that to me is what teaching is about. It's about that impact. I don't remember one thing that I learned in 6th grade history. I don't even remember what it was about. I don't remember the teacher. So, for me to think that somehow in 20 years they're going to remember the Roman Empire, I'm fooling myself. But they will remember me if I'm a good teacher, or they'll remember me if I'm a bad teacher. So yeah. I want them to know that I care, and that I think of them more than just a number. They are a person to me. I care about every aspect of their life. I go to dance recitals and baseball games and whatever I'm invited to, and that to me, building the relationships, that's the most important. That's the most fun right there. I mean, we do fun things in class, but
real talk. I should have brought tissues. That was so sweet. But those are the people that you hear about, like when people go get married, or later on in life, especially if they had kind of a tougher upbringing. Like, I had this one teacher that just legitimately cared and asked me about stuff, and I invited him to my baseball game, and he came, and So it's super sweet, and it is impactful.
And I'm not just like, I don't know, I'm not just doing it because I think I should. It's just natural. That's what I want to do. That's the kind of person I want to be.
You just legitimately like them.
I do.
What a novel idea.
Yeah.
They're little tiny humans, and we like them.
Yeah. And getting those notes, I have, and I suggest everybody does this. Get yourself a folder and call it your I Love Me folder. And every time you get a letter, a note of encouragement, or any award that you get, put it in that folder. And at least once, maybe twice a year, I'll pull that folder out. It's red. It sticks out with all the other folders I have. And I just look through it. And to have a note from somebody who says, Mr. Gandy, you know, you just really impacted me this year, thank you, and any of those kinds of things, it just, when I'm having a bad day, that's my go-to. The I love me folder.
That guy out too. I have to get like a collection of saved Instagram posts or something.
There you go. Whatever it takes.
I do have a folder on my email that's like encouragement / read these books / remember to do this.
Yeah.
It's all in there. It's like my junk drawer of emails. But a lot of them are from, and funny that you mentioned, there's this woman, her name is Kathy Minetti, and she's so cool, and she spoke in one class in college, and she invited all of us to apply. I was grossly underqualified. I mean, I almost threw up when I got there because I walked in the door and I was like, oh, this is not what I thought it was. But she's just, we email each other like once a year.
Yeah.
And if I'm having trouble with business, I'm like, Kathy, what do I do? Yeah. And literally like a 1-year check-in, and that's where all those go. Yep. Do you have anybody that keeps in touch with you like that?
I do. I have a couple of people who do, and a lot of parents who do. Like, they want me to know what's become of their kid or whatever, or
what's become of their kid.
I mean, I guess one of the big. My first year teaching, I had it was 4th grade, and it was the first day of school, and I was just as nervous as the kids, you know, because you were trained and all that, but there's nothing like, all right, I'm in class. And now here are 25 little kids, and the bell's going to ring in 15 minutes, and they got to go to the bus, they got to go to the car, and no one taught me exactly how to do this, right? Yeah. And so we're listening to the announcements, and people are getting ready to go, and this is one little girl, I'll never forget, she's just crying her eyes out, all right? So here I am, I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I get down on my knee right at her desk, and I'm like, you know, what's the matter? What's going on, honey? And she's like, nothing. And I'm like, no, something's wrong. You're crying.
It's like a full panic attack here.
Yeah, and she was like, I don't know where to go. Like, she didn't know where to go. She was a bus rider. And so I took a moment and just kind of, that was like one of those moments, because she was brand new to Sumter, brand new to South Carolina. Her family was here from, I think, Philadelphia or somewhere. So we were both, all of a sudden, it's like we're both in the same boat. We're both don't know what to do. We're both like, all right, she's crying. I'm older and mature. I know not to cry. And so
I'm crying on the inside, kid.
And we kind of like, I don't know, we had like a bonding there, and we had a great year together and everything. And one thing I've never done, and a lot of teachers out there probably won't approve of this, but I don't look at students' permanent records until probably 5 months into the school year. I don't want to read someone's permanent record before I ever meet them and get this preconceived idea. Yeah. And so I never read her prior. I never read them, not ever, until school was over. Anyway, she came to South Carolina not liking education, not liking school. She had a bad experience, and fast forward, she's gone to school to be a special ed teacher. And so, those are kind of moments where you're like this reward. Her parents, I don't know how much I believe them, but her mom says all the time, I was the catalyst, the thing that turned her life around to actually enjoy education and know that it's not bad for you and all that good stuff. So, when you have those kind of moments,
I think teachers really easily get a bad rap because you've got that one teacher. Because if everything's great at school, cool, I want to go outside and play. But then if you've got that one teacher that's giving you a hard time, you're like, Mom, you got to come get this teacher. And so you only ever hear about the bad stuff. And I think that's probably, unless it's super good. And then you hear about that one that's super good.
And that's what, when I became a teacher, I had to think about that. Like, what teachers do I remember? And it was only the really bad ones or the really good ones. And there's a lot of teachers that I might remember a little bit about them, but I didn't want to be that. I don't want to be the bad teacher, obviously, but I want to be someone who students like, and they know I like them, and we can become, friends. I'm not a buddy in classroom. Don't get me wrong. We're not friends. They understand that I am their teacher, and we have that good rapport. But you can have a good rapport with students and still be above them, still be the authority in the classroom.
There's a level of mutual respect there.
Absolutely.
Not like, okay, go here, you will do this, you will do this, blah, blah, blah. If you're not doing it right, you can do it over. And
yeah. And it hasn't always been perfect.
What kind of hell on earth is that for an hour?
it's not always imperfect. I had this one kid at Alice Rock Middle who just did not like me, and I don't know
Oh,
why.
it's so tough.
I pulled him out of class, and I was just as nice as I could be. I said, "Dude, I don't know what's going on. You know, I've done nothing but respect you or whatever. You know, is there something I've done that caused?" He said, "No, I just don't like you."
Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. This toaster strudel was not toasted that morning.
But the principal said, "All right, well, you can go to another teacher." And he said, "No, I'll stay here." So.
Oh. Okay, so you teach 7 things. Just kidding.
Like.
English, 11th grade English,
Yeah.
6th grade world history,
Yes.
which is, love world history.
Yeah.
Not that I remember a lot of it, but it's fascinating.
Yeah.
And
Robotics.
I think when you get to robotics, I think when you get to college world history is Western civilization.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Gosh, such a good class. Don't remember any of it. So, favorite one, don't remember
Well,
it.
I'll tell you what. I hate to interrupt you, but a lot of people say that. You know, we don't. Why do we need to study this if we don't remember it all? And I'm like, well, I don't remember every meal I've ever eaten, but it has like created who I am today.
Correct.
So, you don't.
Fair enough.
You do like you grow in that moment, and you're learning how to learn, and you're learning all. You know, and you probably remember more than you think because you remember the concepts you learned about history.
The concepts, and it builds on itself. It's all
Absolutely.
linear. And more to your point, I meant to say this earlier, teaching kids and treating them like humans in the classroom, and it's, you know, not so much about what you learn, but the experience of learning and
Right.
building those concepts up. It's the same thing when you get out of college and you're in your career. That, I mean, it's very little about what you do every day is about what you're doing, more about how you're treating your people and what you're building.
Right.
So, fascinating.
I learned that at Kmart. Yeah.
Ooh, tell me
Man,
about Kmart.
I have this certificate that I hang up in my classroom. It's hanging because I was Employee of the Month at Kmart. And my kids like laugh at me as I worked at Kmart. I worked at Kmart in 1986 in Florida when I was going to college. When, believe it or not, Kmart was like double the size of Walmart.
They had their time.
Right. And we had elevator music playing. I remember I ran the blue light, blue light special. That was fun. And all the.
What do you mean you ran the blue light special?
No, see, on the nights when you had the blue light special, and now a lot of like people are checking out because they're like, I never even heard of such a thing. But on special nights, we would have this literal cart that had a siren, the blue siren, and so when it was a blue light special, they would come on the intercom and say, okay, the blue light is moving to our shoe department where you will find 25% off, and so I would have to listen to the announcement and then roll the blue cart to the shoe department.
Yes!
Now listen, I'm whipping out a calculator. I got the price gun. So they would hand me the box of shoes. It says $25. I'm calculating 25% off. I'm making a new thing, and that's how it worked. And I remember like as a
fast hands.
Yeah. Like a 20-year-old pushing this blue light with women following me to the next place. It was wonderful.
You felt like a god.
Yeah. The power of the blue light special. Yeah.
Okay, so you have this certificate from Kmart.
Yeah, I mean, it talks about customer service, about just being kind, and I show them this. This is me in my earlier age. I've always been, geared towards
I love
making
that you
people
have
feel.
that hanging up.
Yeah. People are surprised I still have it.
Please never get rid of it.
No.
Please
got the big
always
red
keep
K
it.
on it. It's beautiful.
Yes. Okay, so you're teaching all these subjects. When you go to school to become a teacher, you don't get to pick
Pick what?
the subject you teach?
Okay, that's a good question. If you are going to school for elementary education, which covers you through 6th grade, I think they changed it up a couple of years ago, but you can teach any subject, and you're getting a basic education for that. As you go to upper level, middle school, high school, schools can hire who they want, but they're looking at, are you an English major, or are you actually prepared to teach English? And so there are tests that teachers have to take to become teachers. So
Praise the Lord.
Yeah. And
Not at some schools.
they
I know this from
public school
experience.
system, okay. Yeah. So you have to be qualified, certified to teach certain things. When I became a gifted and talented, if you want to teach gifted and talented students, you have to have that endorsement on your certificate. So you have to go to classes, college classes, and earn that endorsement. And it stays on your certificate forever. So I had that endorsement, but see, I didn't get it until after I started teaching, because there's always ways to get around it. They needed someone. They hired me under the, the terms that I would get my qualifications, and I did.
So when you go back for these qualifications, are they like 6-8 week courses, or you have to
It's
do
according
a
to what
semester?
you're doing. That one was, I want to say I took 3 classes for that, something like that.
2 questions, because this reminds me of real estate. What does teaching school teach you, and what does it not teach you?
Okay. It teaches, well, here's the thing. It teaches you, this is funny you said this, because right now I'm getting my master's at Clemson. And so some of the classes that I'm taking, like I remember talking about it in my undergraduate stuff, but before you become a teacher, it's all just like, I don't really need this. It doesn't sound like it's all important.
Yeah.
After you get some teaching under your belt, and then you take these classes and they're talking about styles of learning and curriculum theories and all this stuff that you saw as boring before, now it's interesting, because now you're like looking at all the kids you've taught over the years and you're filling them into where they belong in this stuff that you're studying. And so they teach you all of the fundamentals of education, how kids learn and that sort of thing. I remember having a math class where we didn't learn, it wasn't really a regular math class, it was a, like, why does math work kind of class. Like, it was that. And so, like, instead of having a base 10 system, we would have a quiz where everything was based on 4. Mm-hmm. So if you counted from 4, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 20, 21, because you don't have the digits 5 through 9, and so we're like, and you have to look at why math works, and so you learn a little bit like under the surface kind of stuff, and so it's kind of interesting. But they don't teach you how to handle a crying 4th grader at the end of the day on the first day of school, or the first day of school when at middle school, and they come in and somebody has thrown up in the boys' bathroom, and you don't, well, I don't know what to do. I don't even know who to call. So things like that.
What's the protocol here?
It's every job. Every job does that.
Well, so you can tell me not to ask this question. I'm going to ask it, and you can choose not to answer it. Do they teach you do they teach you anything with identifying anything developmentally with children, and or is that not in your lane? Like, is that something you should stay away from?
Good question, great question. And they do teach us a little of that, and so, because we need to know it. And so we, enough for us to be able to see that maybe there's something going on. Mm-hmm. At that point, though, we don't bring it up. We go to the guidance counselor and we let them know, and then they can talk to the parents, and going through the proper channels to make sure that no one's calling a kid out, or no one's, I'm not making a judgment that I'm not qualified to make, because I'm not a psychologist, or and so we as teachers do learn how to take that down the proper channels, and then and that works. It works well.
Cool. So. I'm fascinated by that, and I'm really fascinated by you kind of nerd out on all the teachery things, which I feel like makes people that get nerdy about the thing that they love, they end up being pretty good at it, because they really like it.
You got to have a passion about something, or you're not going to love it. So well, I have loved watching you on Facebook and interact with people, and just kind of be goofy and all kinds of stuff. If I'm going to be on Facebook, it's to uplift people and not get political, or start dividing people.
I don't associate you with any sort of politics or.
Yeah, good. I'm glad to hear that.
That's cool, because I hadn't even noticed it. I'm sure I definitely put things out. Sorry. So, sorry. So I'm going to change a little bit and start talking about you not getting eaten by a crocodile.
Okay.
First of all, we don't have crocodiles here.
Yeah, I've never been in a river that has crocodiles.
Do you want to be in a river that has crocodiles?
I wouldn't mind. I've been in plenty. I've seen alligators, and up close in my kayak, and that's like
That's real up close.
Yeah, that's cool though. Well, what you showed me the other day it is so rare. I mean, that's as rare as like like not kayaking because of that little video where the guy was attacked by, he wasn't really attacked by the gator. I think it was just a mom doing what she does.
Oh, maybe there was like a nest or something.
So the video looked to me like he was going one direction and he noticed something
That's
and
what
he
I
turned.
thought.
And I believe he probably should have stayed away from what it was because it was a smaller area of water. And if you're listening and haven't seen the Facebook video, it's, you know, a guy in his kayak gets bumped by the alligator who then swims off. You know, he didn't attack the guy. But there's been moments, you know, I love to go to Goodall State Park in Camden. Tons of alligators out there. And
Yeah.
the worst thing about it is that they leave you alone and they don't, well, what I mean by that is they're hard
go
to
to this
see.
park because Lisa.
They're hard to find because they're scared of you. And so, you know, every once in a while I might be out there and look and see one. One time I was there, he was probably 8 feet away. He was just out of the water, just kind of watching me. And as soon as I made any movement at all, he just went underwater and left. So kayaks are safe, and in fact, you can get hit pretty hard and not go over. That guy just happened to get hit in the right way, and I think he was close to a limb. And there's a lot of things that went wrong at one time. Plus, he was in the wrong kayak. He was in a very short kayak that's made for whitewater rafting, and he was taking it down a river where there are alligators, and that's not a good idea. Easily overturned.
Yeah. There were a lot of things that you picked up in that video that I did not. So how long have you been kayaking and enjoying the great outdoors?
Not really that long. Probably, I've been kayaking. Well, it started with canoeing, and then it got kayaks, but probably 6 years, maybe 5, 6 years.
Okay, cool.
And camping and mountain biking, those kinds of things.
Where's your favorite place?
Favorite place?
And tell me about your tiny camper.
Okay. Oh man, I don't really have a favorite. I love South Carolina state parks, and I love going to experience as many as I can. Sorry, I got too comfortable.
I have that effect.
Huntington Beach is like a great place to go, but you're not going to really go kayaking there unless you kayak Murrells Inlet. So I love Edisto River because you can go with a touring group and they'll take you upriver and you get in and then you just kind of float back to their place and you know it's a day trip kind of a thing. Love that. I love Poinsett, and a lot of people in Sumter don't go to Poinsett, and which amazes me. Anyway, so I love all of them. I love if I'm going to go camping, I'm going to find a place where I can kayak and mountain bike or at least hike. And next week, as a matter of fact, I'm going to Stone Mountain, North Carolina, not Stone Mountain, Georgia, Stone Mountain State Park in North Carolina, where there are tons of hiking and some kayaking that I can do and stuff like that.
Cool. Katie wants us to get a tiny trailer, like one of those little teardrop trailers, or they have, what's it called, the happy camper? The happy something. Anyway, she asked me the last time she asked if we could go hiking, mountain biking, kayaking, literally anything outdoors.
If you do go
she's
camping,
like, can we drink wine outside?
Well, I will say this. I enjoy camping in the fall and winter more than the spring and summer because the bugs aren't as bad, and aren't any in the wintertime. And in South Carolina, on a winter day in February, you're going to get up to 65 degrees sometimes.
Fresh as a daisy.
It's nice.
Hiking.
And so, anyway, the camper that we have is a teardrop, and a lot of people are surprised to find out because if you see it from the outside, it's small, and it is small, but it's got a queen size bed. And it's like 6 inches short of being a queen size bed. It's as wide as a queen size bed. It has air conditioning. It has some cabinetry in there, and so it's just, I call it my tent on wheels, air conditioned tent on wheels, and it's very lightweight. You can tow it with just about anything, and we can get into places that other RVs can't. And plus, it fits in my garage, so it stays out of the weather all the time unless I'm camping.
Nice.
So yeah, and we love it because we can literally come home after school on a Friday and within 1 hour have it hooked up and go somewhere for the weekend.
Well, if you ever downsize or upgrade or move around, let us know.
Right.
We love the garage kept used vehicles. Other things that I
Don't
learned
we
about
all?
valuing things. Garage kept? Yes, please. Okay, so I think it's time for crazy questions.
Okay, hit me.
What would you want your superpower to be?
I'm flying.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't know.
Like, no question.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to fly?
That's fair enough.
When I ask kids that, they say turn invisible, and I just think that's kind of creepy.
It's because how bad they don't want to be in school.
No, they want to be there. They just don't want anybody to know that they're there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's very accurate. If you could be pro, what sport would it be in?
Football.
Nice. What position?
Quarterback.
I feel like you're tall for that.
Not tall enough, apparently, but
The tallish.
yeah, 6'1".
I think you're a little taller than me with these giant shoes on. I was like, I don't know, it's pretty tall. Okay, so what would you want to be famous for?
That's a good question. I don't know, solving some sort of international problem. I don't know.
Maybe like a Pulitzer Prize. Did I say it right? Pulitzer Prize? Pulitzer?
Yeah.
Pulitzer?
Pulitzer isn't that? I don't know what that's for. I'm awful. At
I think
those.
that's for any great achievement, and I think it's global. Yeah, am I getting that right, people?
Sounds good.
Pulitzer Prize, global, for doing a good thing.
Yeah.
Writing and photography.
Any of the Bachelor of Arts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, nice generic answer. Yeah.
Cool.
Solve a problem.
Fair enough. Problem solving. Being famous for problem solving skills is not a bad skill to have in life. What is your? This isn't a crazy question. What's your first degree in?
My first degree is elementary education.
Oh, okay.
So-
When you were 18?
No, I didn't. When I first went to school, I went for 3 years, and money kind of got tight and ran out. That's when I went in the military to finish school, and things changed. So
What were you going for?
youth ministry.
Oh, okay.
So after
Pensacola?
it's funny that Southeastern and Lakeland, Florida.
Oh, yeah.
So after I did that and went into the military, now I was born in Toomey Hospital. Okay, graduated Sumter High School, 1985, and and then joined the Air Force, and they stationed me at Shaw Air Force Base.
Cool.
So, but I didn't mind because we had our first child on the way and that sort of thing. So, when we came here, after I was stationed here, I spent 11 months in Denver, which was cool.
Yeah.
Saw more snow in 11 months there than I had seen in my whole life. And then when I got here, it just worked out where a youth pastor position was needed in the church I was at, and so I became a youth pastor, even though I had not completed my degree, but I had enough life experience and enough education they hired me. So
You're like, I wing it.
Yeah.
I winged it.
I wung it.
I wung it.
all I left was
It's Yesterday I tried to enter somebody's email address for my computer password because
Yeah.
I was emailing them, and that's where I've been at for a couple hours. So, education.
Passwords. I wish just once that a computer would say after I entered the wrong password without the exclamation point or something. I wish for once it would just say close enough. You know what I mean? Like I've seen you around. That's close enough. Come on in. But
Everybody out there that works on computers and loves that stuff, they're like, no. Okay, what is something that you would want people to know about education or teaching? And you don't have to answer that either if you don't want to.
First of all, that it's a great career. And a lot of people say, oh, you guys get the whole summer off. Well, if you do the math, okay, first of all, we don't get the whole summer off.
Yeah.
Really only 1 month because we go into June and then we start back school in August. So I think a lot of older people are remembering their days in school, and they seem to be out all of June, all of July, and all of August, then go back to school in September. And while we're out, we're still preparing, and we're doing things to prepare. And it's a lot more relaxed. You know, I can wake up at the crack of 10 instead of the crack of dawn now, and so those kinds of things are nice. But
The crack of 10.
it's so it's year-round work a lot of times now. You know,
Yeah.
so and I also want to say that a lot of people, well, I probably shouldn't say this, teachers are going to be mad at me. A lot of teachers complain about like the salary, and I kind of remind them, look, we only work 190 days, you know, as far as what we're getting paid for,
Yeah.
190 days a year. Yeah, it's hard to
Yeah.
find a career that you only work 190 days a year and get paid as well as we do. So
Yeah.
if you are doing it right, you can get it all done in those 190 days, but there, like I said a while ago, a lot of times like right now, I'm having a change because 6th grade standards have changed. So I'm having to spend time during my summer. So there are times when you do put a lot more hours and that sort of thing, but you know, it just comes with it. Just all comes with it, and it's just wonderful. The thing that you get with teaching is when a student has that aha moment, and you brought it to them. It's all worth it. Everything that you go through is just worth it for that.
I love that so much. If you could go back and redo any grade in school, college,
like me taking the classes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you could go back to that age for a half a semester or whatever, like what was the coolest? And it can be teacher specific. Like I would do that teacher again.
Well, in my junior and senior year at Sumter High School, I had Dr. Locklear, and a lot of people know Dr. Locklear, and he told me actually when I graduated, I'll never forget, he said, "Gandy, you're going to be a good teacher one day." And I laughed at him. And the day that I got up and made the phone call to USC to start my education classes, I had to call him and say, "Guess what I just signed up to do?" And so he and I, we just had a couple of weeks ago sat in his back porch and at his beautiful garden on Calhoun, and we just still stay in touch. We're good friends,
so
and he was so hard as a teacher, so difficult, so challenging. And if I have time, I'll tell you this one story real quick. I kind of felt like when I was at Sumter High, like I was in the upper level classes, but I felt like
gifted and talented.
Yeah, but I felt like there was like one space left, and they needed to fill it, and so they kind of looked over everybody and they're like, "I guess we'll take Gandy." I did not feel like I belonged there. I really didn't. And a lot of my friends that were in that, they've gone on to be engineers and doctors and lawyers and stuff like that. So I felt like I was just kind of barely in there. But anyway, Dr. Locklear was tough. And I remember one particular time we had to keep a journal. And every day for, I don't know, I think it was probably a month or something. And the day that we turned it in, he was in a bad mood for some reason. And if you know Dr. Locklear, you know when he's in a bad mood, you know it. And so we showed up at class, and he's collecting them, and he tells all of us just to sit down and don't say a word. I mean, he didn't give us anything to do. We just kind of sat there, looking at each other, and he was behind the desk grading these journals. And if you ever seen a teacher, you ever seen a teacher like grade mad? Like the pen is like, bam, everything's slamming and all that kind of stuff.
You stupid.
That's kind of what was
I
happening.
asked you to do one thing.
And so we're all sweating, we're looking at each other, and I was really sweating because my journal was all sarcasm geared towards Shakespeare.
I asked you to do one thing.
And Dr. Locklear he knows Shakespeare like the back of his hand. You can't quote any part of Shakespeare without him knowing where it came from and everything else. And so I was like, he is going to kill me. And I saw him pick mine up, and I literally sank in my chair, and I was like, "Here it goes." And he starts grading it, and then I'm kind of watching him out of the corner, and he smiles. And then he turns again, he starts kind of chuckling. Everybody's looking around, and so by the end of it, he's laughing out loud.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he put A+++++ on the end, and I wasn't in there going, "That's me," I was.
That's
just,
my journal. Y'all can go home now.
That's my favorite story about him, and I don't know if he remembers that story or not. He probably does. He remembers everything, but so he challenged me in more ways than anyone else. I remember his class, even though he was so tough and so challenging. I remember it because I knew he cared.
Yeah.
I knew that he really cared about us, and I remember some of the activities we had to do. I'm using some of those activities as an 11th grade teacher now. We studied the book of Job at Sumter High School, the biblical book of Job, in 1984. And so like last year I was like, I'm going to do that too. And so it's my favorite unit. We studied the book of Job, and adults were saying that's kind of tough for high school kids. And they love it. At least I think they do. They act like they do.
They act like they do. They somewhat they feign likability.
So he has really inspired me, and I would go back and I would love to go back and just relive that.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, sharing fun stories,
yeah.
educating me on kayaks. Anyways,
if you go kayak shopping, let me know, because there are some things that you got to know before you go. So
fantastic. We're gonna stick with the wine and the camper. That is literally it. We just want the truck that you need to pull it, We like the idea of it. I swear that we do.
That's
We need to borrow somebody else's.
Get it out of your system.
I could see us getting there, and like undoing it, being in a Hufflepuff, and just being like this close to like hurting each other.
Yeah.
And be like, you know what? This was stupid. We just like, and then just die laughing, drink our wine, and go home.
Yeah.
Like, pack it up. Oh, I will abort a vacation. You can ask Katie. Like, if I get somewhere
I totally believe that.
and I don't like it, pack it up. Go into a hotel.
No problem believing that.
I don't know what that says about me, but I'm gonna take it as a compliment.
Yes, it is.
I refuse to handle anything that doesn't suit me. It sounds really terrible. Anyway, on that note, we are powered by F45. Thank you guys so much for listening, and love you. Have a great weekend.
Take care.
Great, fantastic. Damn, I thought that was really good. That was a fun one.